Hey there, Hungry Investors Coalition. I am the Real Hungry Investor, and today we're going to be talking about Trump's tariff policies and how they are affecting the real estate market and how they can affect your real estate investing business. So with tariff headlines dominating the financial service media, it's important to note how this new tariff policy can affect your business. Now, a lot of these policies are not set in stone, so it's creating a lot of volatility in the market, especially when it comes to supply chains, imports, exports, and goods that builders need to build new homes. Although tariffs are federal government policy, according to the National Association of Realtors, these federal policies trickle down and affect state policies directly and can affect these individual states' GDP solely based off of the way that they conduct business, the amount of imports and exports they take in and distribute around the country and around the world. Exports reflects goods that are produced in state but then sold and distributed around the world and outside of the country. Louisiana, for example, leads the nation in exports with 26.5% of their GDP being exports. This is because they have a large chemical and energy sector. Major partners include China, Mexico, and the Netherlands. And we all know that the tariff battle between China and the United States is very contentious at the moment. Texas follows up at 16.8% of their GDP being exports due to their natural gas, chemical, and technologies industries. So now that you see how different states are affected by the tariff policy, how does this affect your real estate investing business in your state? Well, first of all, you need to look at your state's GDP and figure out exactly how dependent is your state's GDP on exports. If your state has a high dependence on exports, then your state will be affected directly. Just like if your state has a high dependence on imports for their goods, your state will be affected directly. Along with the volatility in the tariff policy and just the reality that it can change on a whim as Donald Trump changes his mind every single day about which country he's doing tariffs on, which formula he's using to enact these tariffs, it can greatly affect the supply chain and the goods that builders use to create new construction homes. Now, this tariff policy can give you negotiating power individually when you're talking to a seller about the repairs that are required for their property. If you're dealing with a distressed seller and their property needs a lot of work, you can reference the tariff policy and the fact that your state is importing a lot of goods from outside of the country and can directly affect your rehab costs. Just like sellers can directly reference the tariff policy and say, hey, I'm not really willing to sell right now. I want to see some consistency in the market. I want to make sure that I'm gonna be able to afford a home when I move from this property. So these tariff policies are a double-sided blade when it comes to negotiations between your acquisitions manager and sellers. Ultimately, we're going to have to wait and see which tariff policies stick, how they're going to affect the greater market, and then how that trickles down to your local market. But staying updated and abreast to the news can give you a competitive advantage when negotiating with homeowners to try and find your next deal. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you go to my website, realhungryproperties.com, and book a consult with me if you want to hear more about how these tariff policies can directly affect your real estate investing business. So keep doing your research, keep watching the news, stay updated, and use these different policies to negotiate or as a negotiating tactic in your real estate business. And you already know, stay hungry.